JSA issue 16. Geoff Johns, David Goyer writing with Stephen Sadowski on the art. Although we should mention that we actually have a little bit extra before that. I'm not entirely sure which one this is from. There's a couple of things in the small text in the trade that says, "Oh, there's a story from this and a story from that." I'm not sure which one it is. It's either from a Secret Files Origins thing or an 80-page thing. And if it's not from the 80-page thing, it might mean that we've got an 80-page issue at some point in the trade.
I think even then it might just mean part of the 80-page.
It very well might mean that. So there is a little, but it is placed in the right place. I mean, I don't know about publication date, but I assume it also made sense there. Because it does kind of lead in nicely to what the story and the issue itself is. So we did both read this extra little story.
It's only, what, 7 or 8 pages maybe?
Yeah, well, I actually thought it was, I just thought it was at the start of the issue. You know, I didn't realize it was a short until I got to the end. I was like, oh, it's the end. Okay. I just thought it was going to be a full issue.
See, the only thing that made me know going in is it went from the contents page straight into it. There was no title page. So I actually jumped ahead. I was like, wait, are we not doing title pages in the second trade after we did in the first trade? I was about to be really annoyed. And I was like, do I need to switch over to DC Universe for this? Because that's going to piss me off.
No, it was actually, when I got to the end of it, what confirmed what it was that luckily in the trade, it actually labels the next one as well. So I actually said 16, and I knew 16 was what we were supposed to read. So I was like, oh, what did I just read there? What was that?
Yeah, they have like the faded out pages, don't they, on the trade. And that's what I thought they'd dropped between trades, and I was going to be annoyed, which is why I jumped ahead to check, and I was like, oh no, that's there, it's fine. This must be something extra. Yeah,
so the art on this little short, though, is Phil Winslade, just for the record, not Sadowski. Okay. But this is a story of Johnny Sorrow coming to break out Icicle. And we get sort of backstory of how he knew the original Icicle, who had a cold gun, kind of like Captain Cold, even a very Captain Cold-esque costume, which... I'm not super familiar with that version of Icicle, to be honest. That's very...
I think that's probably... I think the popularity of Cold is then why we stuck with Icicle Jr., essentially.
Yeah. Is this technically Icicle Jr., though?
I don't know.
Because I was kind of getting the impression this was the Icicle that we really know, and then he's going to have a kid that's Icicle Jr.
I mean, you could be right.
Even though technically he's got a father who was going by Icicle, which I know makes it confusing, but...
If this isn't, then there's an Icicle the Third, really.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure Icicle has the Icicle I have known has always just had ice powers, not a gun. And Icicle, and Icicle Jr.'s father has always been that Icicle to me. So either things changed at some point, or there's technically a grandfather Icicle who... I mean, I love how it never actually explains. It just there's literally a dialogue bubble that says you inherited the powers of his gun. Do you want to explain that? Do you want to explain how he inherited powers from his gun?
John's don't got to explain shit.
Did he have sex with the gun? Like,
look, the best I've got for you is the gun lets off some sort of radiation.
Sure.
The constant usage affected his cells, and then he passed out.
I would accept that if they said that, but it's the way it just very matter of fact. Johnny Sorrow just says you inherited the powers of his gun.
It just happened. Yeah.
Yes. Very odd. He reveals himself to the guard with his face, as Johnny Sorrow does. If you're not familiar with Johnny Sorrow, of course, but we mentioned him when he popped up, several issues ago, and in that one with Wildcat. But he has the mask. It's like a floating mask almost. But when he takes his mask away, he reveals whatever he looks like, and whoever looks at him goes mad and dies, basically.
Pretty much.
So, but no, we get the idea that Green Lantern, Alan Scott Green Lantern used to tangle with this original Icicle. But yeah, it's basically just him extending the offer to join this new Injustice Society, giving him his business card, and that's it. That's the whole thing. I mean, it was nice. It was nice to get a little context for one of these members. I wouldn't even have minded if they did a few more of these for all the other members, just to give you a little setup for each one.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's kind of like if you're not reading through the trades, you're not missing too much by not reading it.
Nah.
You don't feel like you're missing a ton. It's like it's nice that it's there, but it's definitely not essential. If you just went straight from 15 into 16, you'll be fine.
Yeah, it's nice. It's it's a quick read as well. So I would never recommend skipping it. It's like, no, read it. Just there's no reason not to.
Yeah, if you've got the trade and it's there, definitely read it.
Yeah, But to get to issue 16 itself, which is the start of this Injustice Society story, this is a fantastic issue. And this is, like, obviously there's been some good stuff so far. I love the plane stuff, and I loved, obviously, that Wildcat issue was great, and some of the stuff setting up Sand and introducing the new characters. This is, I think, in my memory, where this run really starts to pop off, where we have the team kind of fully formed, and their team of villains. Because one of the things that I said I loved about that Wildcat issue is learning that, oh, wait, so, Alan Scott Green Lantern had a nemesis who was made of wood called Blackbriar Thorn, and that was his nemesis, and learning about, like, these Golden Age characters and who their nemesis was, who we don't necessarily know from pop culture, who don't get brought up a whole lot. Same thing here with Jay's Reverse Flash. I mean, obviously he never called him that originally. That's how he describes him here. But
he's like kind of a Reverse Flash is what he says.
Yeah,
like,
he's
that works.
Yeah, called Rival. And we kind of so at the start of this issue, when there's like a speedster, with blue lightning running through and like killing various people across the country, I genuinely didn't know who it was going to be. And again, I have read some of this before, but it was a long time ago, so I'm just kind of like,
And let's be honest, he's I won't say relatively forgettable speedster, but more just because we don't encounter him often, it wouldn't be someone you think of in the pantheon of DC speedsters.
Yeah, so basically the Injustice Society kind of show up at all the various locations that the JSA are in. Dinah's having her first date with Dr. Midnight. Peter Cross. Is it just pronounced Peter, or is it like Pieta?
Peter?
Pieta.
No, I'd just say Peter would be fine.
Yeah. Given that Peter's my name, I feel really weird about seeing odd spellings that I'm like, I feel like I should differentiate because it's not my name, but at the same time.
Yeah, no, I get it. The Irish spelling of my name is got a lot of extra letters, and like you would write it CONN AIRE.
Interesting.
And that's still, you'd just still say Connor.
You just reminded me, actually. I was watching an Irish horror film this week.
I saw your tweets and I approve.
Yeah, she saw my tweet. Yes, there's a character named Siobhan. I'm going to describe the way this is just for the context. So it's a horror movie set on a boat, and they find like a mysterious thing, virus spreads, whatever, right? That's the plot. But it's an Irish fishing boat, and they're taking on like a university student who's going to like do some research, and they do this often. They'll take some of the marine biology students, take them out for a trip, whatever.
Is this an Irish film, or is it just set on an Irish boat?
No, I think it's pretty. I mean, there's a couple of actors who are clearly not Irish or doing accents, but otherwise, it's definitely.
You think it was an Irish production, though?
I think it is. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the director's at least Irish.
I just want to judge how offensive this is.
Right, but so Siobhan, this marine biology student, and I realize this is way off topic, but you'll enjoy this.
Another name with a stupid spelling.
Oh, very stupid spelling. The first time I saw Siobhan written down, I had no idea it was Siobhan. I was like, "What? Siobhan? What's Siobhan?" And she comes up, but when she arrives at the boat, she's got like it's kind of cold. She's got this woolly hat on, right, and her hair's all like hidden in the hat. And so she's introduced herself to the captain and whatever, and they're like, "Oh, welcome. This is what we're doing." And there's some small talk, and she comes out on deck, and it's one of these boats where the bridge, if you will, has windows, and they can see the rest of the ship from behind the bridge, and she takes off her hat, and the red hair comes flowing out, and one of the crewmates goes, "Oh, F almighty, Jesus Christ." And she's like, "What?" And the guy just looks at the other crewmate and goes, "Does the captain know about this?" And she's like, "No, about what?" And the other guy goes, "Oh, he does now." And she turns around and the captain's just staring through the window at her, like with this look of horror in his face. And I couldn't stop laughing because they believe that gingers are bad luck on a boat. I
love about this subversion is traditionally it was women that were bad luck on boats, right? That was the thing. So the idea that no, that's not a problem. You can be a woman on here. We don't care about that. But a ginger, oh no.
Well, given that the captain's wife's like the second in command on the ship, yeah, they definitely don't have a problem with women.
No, obviously that they moved on from that. But for a long time, women were unlucky on ships. I think it was to do with the fact that all ships are women, so that's why they're all named after female names. So you couldn't have a woman on it because the ship would be jealous.
Yeah. I
think that's part of it. It's a whole thing.
And to be fair, they did encounter something dangerous, and most of them died. So I mean, technically she was bad luck.
Maybe they were right.
I'm just putting that out there. They did kind of technically harm. Anyway, back to JSA here.
Right at the start.
The film's called Sea Fever, by the way, just in case anyone wants to watch it. It's called Sea Fever.
I did appreciate. I don't know who it was, but someone just saw your tweet and were like, "You watching Sea Fever?"
Someone did. I knew what it was. So yeah, they're on a date. They're in Cross are on a date, and Count Vertigo shows up in a trench coat. He's very, very, very perverted. I mean, he's not actually to do anything perverted, but he's very perverted. He's like, I'm going to open my trench coat and reveal my costume. Like any other situation, this would be some dirty flasher.
It's funny, the first time you see him, just where he's up at the table with the con, he looks like Constantine.
He does a little bit, yeah.
And then he's like, "It's me," and just starts zapping them with his powers.
Yeah, because he knows who Dinah is. He's like, "Hey, I've tangled with your ex or whatever, or your dead boyfriend. Is he dead right now? I can't remember."
Yeah. Well, I think I think he is, but that's how he starts. He's like, "How's Ollie? Is he still dead?" I think he would have been about here. I think he comes back not long after this, though.
Meanwhile, Wildcat and Sand are at the movies. They're watching Raging Bull. Wildcat's picking a fight with people behind him, but it turns out the people behind him are Killer Wasp and Geomancer. So again, they've been also ambushed on their little off-duty outing. And then the rest of the team are back. They're trying to deal with a speedster thing, but when Jay runs off to deal with Rival, when he realizes who it is, and he's probably going to go after Joan because it's a personal thing.
Just before we get on there, when Jay's telling the story of who he is, I love the layouts here where it's all the you got Jay in the big circle panel on the top left, and then all the rest is separated with the lightning bolt border and him running through it. It's really good for just on a fundamental breakdown level.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And Jay runs off, but he doesn't even have a chance to try and talk him out of it. He just speeds out because that's how he be. But right about then, that's when Icicle, Tigress, and Shiva show up for the remaining members of the team who are here, along with Thinker as well.
Yes, it's an AI thing now.
Yes, and Thinker's been like basically the reason why they know all their secrets and who they are is because he's been essentially in the computer and in the base's computer for months.
Yep,
gathering intel.
And then they pull out Blackbriar Thorn. He's back.
Well, yeah. Specifically, Tigress shoots Alan with a crossbow, but the bolt is actually made of Blackbriar Thorn's wood, and then Blackbriar Thorn kind of grows out of Alan's back, which is honestly quite delightful. They're trying to get to a safe room because Alan's down, he's injured. Stargirl's obviously still a bit of a rookie, so there's a lot of concern going on here as they're trying to deal with this. They do get to the safe room though. Terrific essentially makes the safe room be independent of the computer system, so that Thinker can't tinker with it or open doors or whatever. So they are effectively kind of cut off from everyone else.
It's a smart plan.
Eventually. Jay does get to Rival just before Joan's about to have it. The white picket fence literally kind of starts flying in the air. It's flying through. Good bit of the art there, I thought. But meanwhile, Canary and Dr. Midnight are there's actually kind of a kind of smirky joke here where they're like, okay, we have to suit up into our superhero costumes, and she's like, yeah, I've got mine, I always bring mine. And there's a moment where they're in like a dark room somewhere, and she realizes as she's changing, there's this sort of like green silhouette of her, seemingly topless, saying, wait a minute, you can see in the dark. You're not peeking, are you? And he's just got this grin in his face.
He puts his hand up over his eyes like, no, never mind.
No, that was no such thing. But of course, the art of her being in green is suggesting that that's what he sees in the dark, is he sees like green silhouettes of people.
Yeah, so he is seeing her, but I mean, it's very different to what someone else would see.
Yeah, it's kind of like saying an X-ray of someone's hot. Like, it doesn't really work that way.
Yeah.
You don't see an X-ray and go, oh, look at her inners.
I hope not. But then again, if it does, you do you.
I mean, it's a little bit more erotic than that. It's it's a silhouette. So I mean, a silhouette can be at least a little suggestive.
And there is, I think, the important factor that this is what he would see.
Yes.
So this has connotations to him. This isn't just seeing an X-ray. To him, seeing this has meaning behind it.
Yeah. So we're diving around all these scenes because then we cut back to Sand and Wildcat having their fight.
Yeah. And who should show up?
Yeah, Black Adam shows up. And says Sorrow sends his regards. And what's interesting about this, of course, is that Black Adam ultimately if you know anything about the run, is that he kind of, isn't completely a villain the whole time.
He goes back and forth.
Yeah.
He's very. I mean, it was this run that made Black Adam one of my favorite DC villains because he's not just a villain. He's an incredibly complex character.
There's a bit more depth than that. At the end of the issue, because a lot of it is jumping around so many of these scenes that are going at the same time, it actually goes in very quick when you're reading it. It flies in.
Yeah.
But the end of the issue, the King of Tears, which was introduced, of course, that's what Sorrow was there for in the first place, is he has went to the home of Scarab, and he is trying to use this King of Tears, and he's been pleaded with not to do it. That you won't be able to rule this world. It'll just destroy everything. And he's like, I don't want to rule the world. I just want to kill everyone. Like, proper full-on maniacal, like, psychotic behavior, as opposed to, I mean, it's what we always come back to, right? There's two kinds of villains, and typically you can almost define every one of them as being kind of Lex Luthor or kind of Jokery. And this is not that he's as obviously erratic as Joker, but in the sense that he's more about the chaos and murder than he is about.
He's on that end of the scale. Yeah. Those are the two archetypes of that define the end of the end points of the spectrum.
I mean, I suppose what we're really saying here is chaotic evil and lawful evil, but I mean,
pretty much.
I don't want to use D&D terms, all right?
Right, but in the DC sense, those two are the archetypes of both ends of the spectrum, and everyone else just falls in between them somewhere.
I guess that's why Black Adam's kind of interesting, because Black Adam's way more Lex Luthor, but he happens to be also have the powers of someone that would rival Superman, which makes him kind of a,
yeah.
He's basically what would it be like if Lex Luthor had happened to have those powers.
Also, by the time people listen to this, it might be confirmed or not. I don't know, but I really hope those rumors about the Black Adam renaming are not true.
What's the rumor?
Oh, you've not. Oh, okay.
I've not heard this.
Now, this comes from our favorite rumor mill, so pinch of salt. Yeah. Apparently, it'll likely be used first in the Infinite Frontier Zero issue in March.
Mm-hmm.
Shazadam.
That's fake. That's not
real. That's my first reaction.
That's not
it's
real.
Got to be fake. That can't be real. They are not looking at this and going, "There's a Black Adam movie coming out in the next couple of years. Let's rename him Shazadam."
Like, I buy that this has come from maybe there's like a joke in the issue or something, like someone calls him that as a joke, and someone's taken it and said, "Oh, they're changing his name to Shazadam." There is no way that they are seriously changing Black Adam's name to Shazadam. It's not happening.
I know. It can't be happening. And the thing the site is saying is basically he's on the new Bendis Justice League book. He's on that team, right? And basically that's what they're going to be calling him in the book. And I'm like, they can't. I'm
willing to bet. I'm willing to bet. I'm so confident in this that if they actually legitimately, with the intention of keeping it around beyond just a joke for like an issue or something, I mean, because maybe they'll put out a Shazadam issue 1 because it's part of the meta joke or something, whatever. But if they're intentionally going to try and rename him permanently to Shazadam, Connor will read an entire Bendis run on this show, right? That's what's going to happen.
No such thing.
That is how confident I am feeling, that I'm willing to throw Connor under the bus.
No. What's going to happen is if you're that confident, we'll go back and finish Wonder Woman. Or we'll do
no.
All right, fine, we'll do a Gillen book.
No. After that prick said about Resident Evil games, no. Not having it. That hack can keep his mouth shut.
You're the one that's so confident it's never going to happen.
I am
confident. The stakes have fine. That's good. Then the stakes have to be something that you will do that you don't want to do if it ends up being true. Not me. You don't put me on the line. You're not gambling with mine.
That's the whole joke. Why are you picking this apart so much? The whole joke, the punchline is that I'm.
I know. I want to see how confident you really are.
I'm pretty confident. Anyway, rate JSA.
Not confident enough to put something on it though.
I don't gamble. I don't gamble. I just don't do it.
Fine.
It's the principle of the matter.
It's the principle. Okay, sure. It's an 8.5. That's a really great issue. It bounces around. It flows in a way that there is a danger of it not flowing because it's bouncing around so much. There's a danger that it can feel stilted, but it doesn't. It always feels like a really natural link.
I agree with the 8.5 for the record.